What looks like the spirit of whatever was haunting the mansion is released, and the credits start to roll. Phew, it's finally over.
This one actually ended on a pretty positive note. You saved your girlfriend, the mansion is gone, and the mask has finally stopped haunting Rick. I hope. Yeah, I don't know what to do, Mike. I just keep having these weird dreams, and every time it's this mask, and...
That sounds pretty crazy, man. Hey, you keep mentioning a mask. Wasn't there some kind of creepy mask that followed you around in those Splatterhouse games you were reviewing for Halloween?
Well, yeah, but those were just games. This is like...
Something's haunting my dreams or something.
Maybe it's your subconscious telling you need to finish that series.
I don't know. I heard the third game wasn't nearly as good as the first two. Like, apparently they like turn into a beat 'em up or something.
What's wrong with beat 'em ups?
Well, nothing, but Splatterhouse was really unique, and a lot of that was due to the gameplay.
Simplifying it into a beat 'em up takes a lot away from it. It's kind of a shame.
I don't think I'd have that much to say about it.
Well, just review it and get it over with then.
Well, maybe you're right. Oh, you sure you're not going to make it back to town in time for Halloween?
Nah, I can't. I got this zombie-themed pub crawl I've got to go to.
Well, have fun. Hey guys, it's Halloween, and you know what that means. It's time for my annual, mandatory, spooky game review. Today I'm going to be looking at another Sega Genesis game, a console that I still don't own yet, which means I'm going to be using the normally forbidden emulator. But hey, at least I still have this controller adapter, so I can still use a Super Nintendo controller instead of a keyboard to play, because who wants to do that? But enough of that. Let's get right into... let's get to that game review. So the first thing I noticed when booting up the game is the disappointing lack of story explanation. The first Splatterhouse didn't have any text in the opening scene, but it visually shows you how Rick and his girlfriend Jennifer make their way into a spooky mansion on a rainy night, and she ends up getting kidnapped. Then the demonic terror mask attaches to Rick, empowering him to help him rescue Jennifer. She tragically ends up being turned into a monster until being killed by Rick, and afterwards the evil entity that seemed to be haunting the mansion is defeated and released, the home itself destroyed in the aftermath. The terror mask explodes before reforming itself after the credits end, complete with an unsettling laugh. Splatterhouse 2 actually goes more in depth during the opening by explaining that it's been 3 months since Rick escaped the Splatterhouse mansion in the first game, and he's been tormented by nightmares of the deceased Jennifer. The mask summons Rick to a new location, another mansion located on a tiny island near the old one, and tells him that Jennifer can still be saved. This game actually has a happier conclusion, with Rick successfully rescuing Jennifer this time, leaving the second mansion to sink into the lake. However, there still lies a cliffhanger at the end, with the mask still in one piece, and what looks to be the spirit of the mansion from the first game floating out of the water. You'd think that the third and final game would start with an explanation of what happens, right? Nope. All we get is this floating red crystal and a bunch of ghostly faces surrounding it. Then we see Rick wearing the terror mask while the title of the game slowly scrolls in front of him. After this, we see Jennifer in a bright light, surprisingly played by what seems to be a real-life digitized actress. Finally, we end on seeing the terror mask again with its signature laugh, before being left at the menu screen. Okay, what's going on here? What's that red crystal thing? Did Jennifer get kidnapped again? Why is there another mansion on the menu screen? The first one burned down and the second one sunk into a lake, so where'd this one come from? Okay, so as it turns out, the manual actually explains what's going on here. Mostly. So we're gonna look at that to avoid confusion. Splatterhouse 3 takes place 5 years after the last game. With the horrors of the terror mask behind them, Rick and Jennifer get married and have a kid named David, with Rick actually becoming very successful on Wall Street and earning enough to buy his family their own mansion. Wait, really? This guy went through not one, but 2 horrible and traumatizing experiences involving mansions, and he's just gonna live in one? That's like if Tom Hanks' character in Castaway returned home after 4 years on a deserted island and then immediately thought, you know what? I think I'll go on a boat cruise. It's like he's just asking for trouble. Right away, we're greeted by the terror mask, and no, he's not telling you the backstory like I just did. He's actually just giving you, the player, some semi-vague instructions. Looking at the mask again, it's interesting how its design has changed over the years. In the first game, it was an obvious knockoff to Jason's hockey mask, and in the second, they changed it up so it looked more like a skull. This time, however, it's sort of like a mix between the original mask and a skull. I actually think it might be my favorite. The game itself, though, knowing when to use certain kinds of attacks, how each enemy works, placement of hazards, and of course having a decent skill in platforming were all necessary when trying to reach the boss at the end of each level. Splatterhouse 3 works a bit differently. Instead of a linear path to the stage boss, there's many different directions you can head while making your way to your destination, marked here on the map. The biggest change, however, is the gameplay, taking the side-scrolling strategized gorefest of the original games and turning it into a much more simplified beat-em-up, with Rick now moving in 3 dimensions. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with beat-em-ups, there's plenty of good ones out there, but they do have a penchant for being very mindless and monotonous, and that pretty much stays true here. Rick has a punch which leads into a basic combo if you tap it 4 times, a weak jump kick used to clear some space, and a grab which lets you either throw the enemy or get some free hits in. There's also a special spin kick move, but we'll get more into that later. The first room just has a couple lowly goons that are incredibly easy, going down with a single punch combo. After clearing a room, you can pause to take a look at the floor map and try to figure out the fastest route before the timer runs out, while occasionally a cutscene plays between rooms. Looks like Jennifer's in trouble. I guess we know why we're in a rush now. There's other enemies like these fat guys, but so far they don't really seem to be any different from the other monsters besides the fact that they have more health. I'm not sure what the white doors are exactly, but the yellow ones lead you to rooms with extra lives and also teleport you to other areas of the mansion, giving you yet another route to take. You can use weapons such as this cinder block, which can be quite effective, but if you don't pick it back up right away once it falls to the floor, a ghost will come and take your weapon away. There's also these power stones, not related, which can transform Rick into an even more hulking monster that packs more power and takes less damage. Okay, there's just one room now before I reach Jennifer, but it's this super long hallway. The enemies here are just as easy, but one annoying thing is that you can't scroll the screen back after you move forward, meaning that if an enemy gets knocked out of bounds, then you have to wait for him to walk back on screen before you can finish him off. And all of this on a time limit. This isn't challenging, just plain annoying. Ugh, the time is about to run out. I don't know if I can make it. 3, 2, 1. Huh? I didn't get a game over or lose a life. I guess the timer doesn't matter. Oh, Jennifer is destroyed?
What?
What is she, a fortress in a tower defense game?
Okay, all joking aside, there's a boss fight here, meaning I wasn't even close to saving her anyway. He is a bit stronger than the regular enemies, but once again, he's more annoying than anything. Most of his attacks aren't too hard to avoid, but he loves running away and jumping all over the place. His acid seems mostly used to just keep you back from attacking, and his swipe knocks you down. Did I mention Rick takes a really long time to get up after being knocked down? Yeah, he really milks it. Oh, and you should see when you lose a life. The mask takes its sweet time reviving Rick, clearly suggesting that every single action of the game is purely designed to slow you down rather than actually be a difficult challenge. Now would be a good time to put those power stones to use, and it seems like the easiest way to do fast damage to the boss is to grab him while he tries to scurry around you. It shouldn't take too much to put him down. After this, we get a cutscene of the mask really emphasizing the fact that Jennifer was killed and that Rick should use his rage against him. Not really sure who him is, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. The next stage takes place on the second floor of the mansion, and with Jennifer destroyed, the evil one taunts Rick about the death of his preckless wife. Okay, I'm gonna ignore that low-hanging fruit and focus on the evil one. To my knowledge, the game never actually specifies who the evil one is, but if I had to guess, it's probably the spirit of the mansion seen both in the endings of the first and second games. The second level plays the same as the first, with you trying to reach your destination before the time runs out. Though the timer seems pointless here, since the last stage we had the occasional reminder that Jennifer was in danger, and this one simply shows Rick getting bullied. There's new enemies, such as these lumpy guys, but they basically just have more health, and they're just as easy to kill. These red fat guys though are actually quite a pain. They were just big meat shields before, but now a single attack from them takes nearly your entire health bar away, even at full health. The best strategy here is just to play it safe and attack while they're open, and stay out of their path when they're acting aggressive. The final boss here starts off a lot more annoying than the first, with these barrage of leeches that knock you away from the boss with every little hit. If the timer was actually significant for this level, then this would be a lot more frustrating than it is. After finally reaching the boss, however, he's actually a piece of cake, with pretty much every move making contact with ease and grabbing being particularly effective. Stage 3 raises the stakes yet again, with Rick's son being the one in danger this time. This image of Rick is actually pretty cool, but he looks a lot leaner here than he does in-game, which is a bit strange. Once again, some new enemies are introduced, but mainly just as more easy monsters to button mash. The main difficulty comes once again from these fat monsters that can kill you in just a bite or two. The only other notable thing is this long hallway part where you have to get past an evil library. Since they hardly do any damage, this is mostly just another way to eat up your limited time. Speaking of, looks like I'm not gonna make it again. When you finally reach David's room, his soul seems to be sucked out of his body and this giant teddy bear comes to life. This is a basic beat 'em up boss fight here. You use the power mode if you have to and just beat 'em up. After this, Rick asks where the real David is, and the mask informs him that his son has been taken by the evil one in order to free the Dark Stone, which I can only assume is the red floating crystal thing from the opening of the game. Next up is the basement. It was at this point that I realized I was really gonna have to learn how to adapt to the game if I wanted to win. Here's where the spin kick comes in. The spin kick is a special move performed by pressing back, forward, and then punch. Not only does it put you into an invincible state and attack all around you, but it actually does more damage than anything else in your arsenal by far. I would originally perform this by accident, but had no idea how powerful it was until I began using it purposely. Not only is this necessary for clearing out enemies that are surrounding you, but it's also the fastest way to kill most of the monsters in the game. The timing of the move can be a bit tricky to pull off, but it's a must if you want to get far. The other important move you need to know is the grab. You can just spin kick if there's two at a time, but if there's one, grabbing is the easiest and safest way to go. This also goes for pretty much every single boss in the game, with the grab moves being particularly effective in the powered up state. And now for these floating rags. Wouldn't you believe it? The grab works here too. Float away from this, you jerks. Now we're on to another boss, this floating orb thing. I don't have much time, but with my new tactics at use, I may just win. Yeah, I think I really may be able to beat the timer this time. Oh, nope. He's taking his sweet time transforming. Oh great, so as usual, I eventually beat the boss, and then... yeah. Sorry, Rick, I know you're having a rough day. Next up is the final stage, which just says the Dark Stone, which is a funny name for the floor of the mansion. Besides the new background, there's nothing particularly special about this stage. The basic enemies you face here are the hardest yet, but nothing really new. If you manage to make it to the end, you'll come face to face with the Dark One himself. Huh, he's really slimmed down since Splatterhouse 2. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but his attacks are mostly just annoying time wasters instead of actually being deadly. But what's the point? Does the timer even matter anymore? I do like this one attack though, which sorta looks like a boss from the last game. There isn't much else to say here. Use the old grab and smash technique and you'll put this boss away eventually. So after all that, your friend the Mask congratulates you and... oh. Wow, so the Mask has been friendly since the first game, and finally after all of this, he reveals that he was trying to use Rick to take over the world? Yeah, what is definitely the proper response? So the final level is a boss fight with the Mask itself, and wow, just look at that timer. God, just how long and epic will this battle be? Well, I guess this is what the entire series has been leading up to. Wait, how can I be fighting the Mask while I'm still wearing it? Whatever. He's honestly not that intimidating. He's about the same size as I am while I'm powered up, and the grabbing method is working just fine. Whoa, okay, giant Mask. He's teleporting around and wow, yeah. Okay, now this is a final boss fight. Did I just beat him? Like that? Same method as every other boss in the game? Well, that was surprisingly easy. The horror of last night's battle has vanished. The sky is clear and blue. With the evil one and the terror mask gone, Rick can finally live in peace, though he is alone without his family. Kind of a rough ending to the trilogy, but at least it's finally over.
And that was Splatterhouse 3. I beat it. I got the bad ending, but I beat it. So that was Splatterhouse 1, Splatterhouse 2, and now Splatterhouse 3. Whole series done. So I don't need this anymore. And I don't need this anymore. So yeah, that's it. That was the J reviews for the month. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go put this stuff away because Halloween is finally over. Feeling good. Won't need these anymore. It was just a dream, Jay. I gotta relax. You're not real. You're just a nightmare. Did you stop? Is it? You want me to keep playing the game, don't you? Or you don't want me to keep playing the game? This is because I got the bad ending, isn't it? Fine. Okay. We need to beat this game and we're gonna get the good ending this time. What the hell's going on? He cut my controller cord. You think I need this? I'll beat it with the keyboard. I don't care.
Okay, you want the good ending, huh? Well, I'm gonna give it to you. I'll use your stupid spinning kick that doesn't want to work half the time, and I'll deal with your long hallways that won't let you scroll for some reason, and whatever. Come on, we gotta save Jennifer first. Wow, the timer even keeps going during the boss's death animation. They really wanted to piss people off. But hey, I made it, and with some time to spare too. So now that Jennifer is saved... Oh wait, apparently she has a boar worm inside of her now, eating her alive. Yeah, as it turns out, the second stage timer isn't for nothing after all. Now we have to hunt down this big boar worm and kill him before Jennifer gets turned into a mindless monster. Alright, we're doing good on time here, now we just gotta beat the boss. The worm gorges on Jennifer's brain. You didn't save her in time. What? Bullshit, I didn't save her in time. There's almost 2 minutes left on the clock. Whatever, I'm just gonna keep going. The boar worm has stopped feasting on Jennifer's flesh. Wait, did I save her in time? What's going on here? On to the third stage. Okay, once again, I beat the boss with time to spare, and it changed nothing? David still got kidnapped, so apparently it was the third stage that actually had the pointless timer. Stage 4 boss, you're next. And I beat him rather easily too, but just look at how long his death animation takes while the clock continues to tick down. 10 seconds. 10 whole seconds that could screw over someone's good playthrough even though the boss has already been defeated. Well, at least I was able to save David. As you may have guessed, you can take all the time you want to beat stage 5, so as long as you could do that, you're fine. After that, you just fight what is probably one of the easiest end bosses in gaming history, and that's it. The ending scene has much happier music, with the mask finally confirmed to be gone for good, and Rick left to enjoy the company of his family once again. Now, it's finally over. So, in conclusion, Splatterhouse 3 was pretty mediocre. It's not really an awful game, but it gets pretty repetitive, and the difficulty is based more on learning a couple little tricks that work on pretty much every single enemy in the game, rather than having to adapt to new challenges like in the first two titles. It's a pretty lackluster end to the series, but that being said, it is the end, which means that I don't have to worry about that mask anymore every time Halloween comes around. What? But No. You know what? It's just a mask. Who cares? It's just a dumb mask. Seriously? No. You know what? I'm not running away from you anymore. Mike? That was you? That's not cool, man.
What? I mean, I just thought I'd give you a little scare, you know. It was just a prank.
You were threatening me with an axe earlier and you call that a prank?
An axe? I just have this mace. It's made of rubber.
Yeah, earlier. In the garage?
In the garage. I've been in your closet all day.
Hey guys, thanks for sitting through all that nonsense. I'm giving a shout out to my boy Kiko Mosquito. He makes some really cool original retro style video game songs along with some remixes as well, so check him out if you get the chance. Happy Halloween, catch you later.